As you know, in this part of the test, you're given 3 pictures, and you must talk about 2 of them for about a minute. First of all, I'd like to remind you again that here you're not supposed to simply describe the pictures, so don't state the obvious. The examiners aren't blind, and there is no need to say what exactly you can see in the photo. Focus on comparing and contrasting. In other words, you should find similarities and differences which are related to those 2 questions you have to answer. In this respect, I'd recommend going for contrasting pictures, that is, those which are considerably different from one another. For instance, in this case, A and C have a lot in common, and if you chose them, you would restrict yourself to talking about entertainment only. Conversely, picking A and B or B and C would allow you to use a wider range of vocabulary, since it would be about entertainment versus sports. Don't choose the picture that's somehow unclear to you or that represents something you're not familiar with. For example, in this case, picture B doesn't make much sense to me. I have no idea what it is about, so obviously I can't answer who these people are and why they're here. Another important tip: don't spend too long talking about one picture. Instead of discussing each picture separately, try to move back and forth between them, saying 1 or 2 sentences about picture A, then jumping to picture B and back again. It's essential that you include linking devices such as while, whereas, conversely, on the other hand, in contrast, to point out the differences between the 2 situations. Also, remember to use modal verbs for speculation. Could, may, might help you express your thoughts on what's possibly happening in the photo. Now let's go back to the pictures we've seen before and see how we can put all of the above into practice. I'd say pictures A and B have something in common. They both show celebrities whose lives are probably closely watched by the public. But even though the pop singer may be constantly in the spotlight, giving interviews and going on tour, his life can be as intense and challenging as that of the sportsman who has to go through years of rigorous training. I suppose they're quite different in terms of their personality. Pop singers tend to be sociable, creative, and even eccentric, which helps them attract their audience. In contrast, the swimmer seems more single-minded and ambitious, the kind of person who's determined to overtake his competitors and win the gold medal. Judging by the way the woman in picture A is admiring the scenery, I can assume she's come here to get away from routine, meditate, and recharge her batteries. The diver in picture C, on the other hand, looks like an experienced marine photographer who earns his living this way, although he might as well be just an amateur. My guess is that the woman is rather reserved and introverted, since she clearly prefers solitary journeys, whereas the man is more of a fearless adventurer who probably leads a very active way of life. I wouldn't be surprised if he took pleasure in other extreme sports like skydiving or bungee jumping. Conversely, the woman doesn't look like a risk taker to me. My last piece of advice would be to use your phone to record your answers and then analyze how well you did. Make sure you've answered both questions in the task and said enough about each photo. When you are at the actual exam, don't stop talking until the examiner says thank you. Mine actually gave me a chance to finish my sentence, but even if you are cut off abruptly, it's not a big deal. Well, I hope you now have a clearer understanding of what is expected of you in this part of the test. The more pictures you practice with, the easier it'll get. Bye!